What's up, everyone? This is Lye Yosh. Welcome back to Life Study Library. Today we're going to be talking about friends. I've probably said this in my other videos, but having a healthy friendship is crucial when thinking about the health and the wealth of our lives. Having trusted friends, especially having someone who you can call your best friend, has numerous benefits, including but not limited to improvements in physical and mental health, attainment of knowledge and perspective, and overall enjoyment in life. This has been proven by so many studies that I'm not going to even bother to introduce you guys. But the point is, this is not to be confused with having lots of friends, because the point of making friends is to have a small knit circle of people who you enjoy being around with. So when those self-claimed millionaires and self-claimed successful people say things like connection is the must, you must be extroverted so you can know people and have friends. I'm so extroverted and successful, I'm friends with this guy who is the president of this big company. When people say stuff like this, I usually roll my eyes up and smirk at them, because the president of this big company usually is not their friend. The point is that you can totally be introverted like me and have a small amount of friends. But if you're close with these people and you can genuinely trust them and have fun being with them, then you're good to go. It's far better than knowing a large group of people who you can't even trust and have fun, and you're just there for the money and fame or whatever. I mean, if all you want is money and fame, then I guess that's good to go. Keep doing what you're doing. But if not, you should start cutting down on your friend group and be more selective about it. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about that if you don't have someone who you can call your best friend, you might start looking for that person. Well, don't actively search for it. Trying to find your best friend will most definitely make you miserable. Likewise, in this channel, I'm going to be talking about these interesting scientific and psychological information by implementing data from scientific studies. So if you find this interesting, please subscribe to my channel so you can watch my past and my future videos. Did you click it? Did you subscribe to my channel? Thank you. Alright, let's go. So before I start talking about friends, there are two concepts that you need to know about selecting in general, which are maximizing and satisficing. Maximizing is looking for the best option. So when you're shopping, you're picking and choosing around different clothes until you find the one, right? A jacket or pants or whatever that has the right size, the right design, the right price, the right color, the right everything. The other one is called satisficing, and this is when you look for a jacket that is good enough. So I don't care about the color or design or whether it's fashionable. I just need something that's cheap enough and fits me well. That's all I care about. That kind of energy. This concept applies to every choices you make in your life. Where to go for a vacation, which school to go, which company to be at, and of course this applies as well to friendship selection. And when people try to look for their best friend, what they often do is maximizing. They look for the best person to hang out with. And when they do this, you just entered a nightmare. According to a study done at the University of California at San Francisco, they collected 254 college students to measure the relationship between maximizing tendency based on friendship selection and overall emotional well-being, so your general happiness in what you selected. What they did is that the researchers made the participants answer an agreement scale survey about how much maximization they had when it comes to selecting friends. So the survey included things like, I wonder if I would be happier with a different friend, or I don't want to compromise on who I choose to hang out with, or I usually have a hard time finding a friend I really like. These statements were answered on an agreement scale, so how much you agreed with each statement. Next up, participants were tasked to measure their emotional state, kind of like a self-esteem analysis, by answering how much they feel like these positive and negative emotions. For example, happy, proud, excited, calm, peaceful, stressed, sad, bored, depressed, all that kind of stuff. The result in this study implied that a high score in friendship maximization were correlated with lower level of well-being. So the participants who agreed the most on stuff like, I don't want to compromise on friendship selection, these people found themselves the most associated with feelings of sadness, depression, boredom, stress, etc., etc. Specifically, the strongest mediator between negative well-being and friendship selection was the word regret. So the emotion of regret had the strongest impact based on the participants' maximization tendency in terms of friendship selection. And the researchers have commented on this finding like this: maximizing in friendship leads to regret, and regret leads to all these numerous terms of negative emotional state or low life satisfaction. So what they mean is that looking for that perfect fit makes you use a lot of energy and time, and you sacrifice a lot in order to find this best friend. And this often ends in failure because there are no such thing as the best friend. Or maybe there is, but the chance of you encountering one in your lifetime it's blindly obvious that the chance is slim. Therefore, you're using all this time and energy for virtually nothing in return. And once you realize this, you'll be overwhelmed with regret. And this regret of, oh, I'm so stupid for doing this, what have I done? I wasted so much time for nothing. These kind of emotion results in you feeling of low life satisfaction and low self-esteem. And that leads to all this negative connotation. And this was the case even when the study was switched to a naturalistic setting, so at a realistic environment like a college campus or fraternity. And this was also the same when the study was focused on the individual and the daily level. So even when the study was focused on the specific day of the samples, the results were the same. And this is also the case when considering relational mobility. This is like an indicator of how much you believe you can create new friends or leave existing groups within a society. Even in this form of study, the results stayed the same. People who had a high level of friendship maximizing had a lower level of well-being and life satisfaction. And when you think about it like this principle doesn't just apply to friends, but basically every decision in life. When you're choosing schools, jobs, relationship, house, whatever, this study only talks about how trying to find the best fitted friend results in misery. But this also happens to people who say stuff like, this job right now? No. This is not where I'm gonna end up. Right now, I'm just waiting for this perfect opportunity to find my dream job so I can accomplish my perfect lifestyle. These people are better off building their graves in that position that they're in right now.
The point is, this is why maximizing is often not the better way to go. First of all, this makes you a perfectionist, and perfectionists are never happy because they can never be satisfied with what they have right now. Now, the energy to strive for more is fine by itself, but always wanting the best is damaging because instead of saying, no, this is not enough, I need more, when you say, I'm proud of myself for the progress that I made so far, I'm sure I can do better next time, but for now, I'm pretty pleased and satisfied with the results. This is the mindset of a satisficer. Don't get me wrong, satisficers can still look for ways to be better, but they can genuinely separate themselves from that attitude so that they can enjoy what they have right now.
And now that I've said all this, you're going to be saying, alright, so satisficers are better than maximizers, so I'm going to become a satisficer. Well, not so fast. There's another study that apparently contradicts what I just said. According to a study done at the Bowling Green State University in 2008, they measured their samples' maximization tendency in relation with their maladaptive behavior traits list. This list included things like indecisiveness, avoidance, regret, neuroticism, and life dissatisfaction. So basically, their study was about whether, comparative to satisficers, do people with maximization tendencies experience more indecisiveness, avoidance, regret, neuroticism, and life dissatisfaction? Do they feel these more? And they measured this by using 191 samples. The result implied that regret was the only category that maximizers felt more in comparison to satisficers. This is really interesting. Personally, I can't really imagine being satisfied with life but being more regretful with your decision. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And the second study has a number of things to point out. Firstly, where the first study mainly talked about maximizing tendencies in terms of friendship selection, so the topic was pinpointed towards how people selected friends. And the second study, on the other hand, talks more broadly about the general sense of maximizers versus satisficers. And apparently, what the second study is pointing out is that the method used by the first study to compute the results was insufficient. And this leads to the next thing to note about this second study. So even when the second study experienced between maximizers and satisficers with their better method, the category of regret was still seen significantly more in maximizers. So at least in these two studies, maximizers are proven to experience more regret than satisficers. Okay, I know it's very confusing and complicated right now, but bear with me, it's gonna make sense. So right now, I've talked about two different studies in which one of them concluded that maximizers lead to misery, and the other one saying that it doesn't have that much difference. And you must be confused, so you're asking, so which one should I be? Should I be a maximizer or a satisficer? And to answer this, I'll say that, yes, in the end, you're better off being a satisficer than a maximizer. But, rather than becoming a satisficer at face value, you should only apply the attribute of a satisficer. What I mean by this is that, rather than maximizing your choice, so choosing the better option between becoming a satisficer or a maximizer, rather than doing that, you should look at both options and take in only the positive qualities from both and be satisfied with that. Just because I said you're better off being a satisficer than a maximizer doesn't mean that satisficing is always correct and maximizing is always wrong. They both have their benefits and their disadvantages. Alright, so that is pretty much all that I have to say about maximizing and friendship selection, so I'm going to repeat the points. The point is to chill out and not go overboard about finding the perfect match. Just settle with the concept of good enough and not much more. But then you're going to wonder, okay, so I'll be a satisficer when it comes to making friends, but I can't become friends with everyone. Shouldn't there be at least a line when it comes to choosing who to hang out with? People who thought about this are up in their games because, yes, if you don't have like a sort of a line of passage when it comes to who you want to spend time with, you're going to end up hanging out with everyone. And that'll lead to what I said earlier in the video. If you have too many people to hang out with, you're going to start losing track of who you genuinely want to be with, and will have to spend time with insignificant people who don't care about you and are not important in your life. Now, for the begging question. What should be the criteria, the bare minimum criteria when it comes to choosing friends? What should you have as the bar to select and at least separate those who are actually interesting from everyone else, the extras in your life? Is there even such a thing? My answer is yes, there is, and I've already talked about it. And you can find the link to that video in my description down below. But for now, that's all I got to say in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so right now so you can watch my older videos and keep up with my new videos and my other content. Again, thank you so much for watching my video, and thank you so much for subscribing. You were listening to Life Study Library by Lye Yosh. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!